Our next question, oh, another classic, very commonly asked. How can I be on a spiritual path when I have a husband and children to care for? Isn't it easier to be alone and have the least ties possible in order to focus on God? Well, this is a mouthful. This is many questions, and within those questions, there are many tangents. All right, first of all, I'm going to have to break it down by phrases because there's so much in here. How can I be on a spiritual path when I have a husband and children? All right, first of all, everyone is on a spiritual path all the time, whether you're meditating, whether you're with a guru, whether you're in an ashram, whether you're taking classes or not, because everything is spirit and everything is about growing more and more into oneness with God and ingratiating yourself more and more into the heart of the beloved. So everything is a spiritual path. So, but I do understand where you're coming from. At the same time, I needed to educate and illuminate, to show you some of the distortions in even the asking of the question. But to go more empirically how you're asking it. All right, so how can I focus on my spiritual practices when I have a husband and children to care for? Well, and is it easier to be alone? Well, that's relative. So let me do the first part, husband and children. It's first and foremost, it's imperative that you understand loving and caring for your husband and children is your spiritual practice. It's not, how can I do this so I can get back and meditate? That is your meditation. That is your seva. That is your sadhana. That is your service to God. Make your family your spiritual practice because it is. That's what you chose. You chose the husband and children. You chose the family way. So that does not preclude you from having a deep and profound relationship with God, and that does not stop you from becoming more and more an emanation of unconditional love and merging more and more with God. You're just seeing them as separate, and that's the problem, not the husband and children. So, at the same time, that may make it look different than your single girlfriend who doesn't have a husband and kids. Granted, you probably will not be getting up at the crack of dawn to watch the sunrise and sit in lotus position for an hour because you'll have kids and husband and this and that and breakfast and clothes and dogs and pets and who knows what else. So it looks different. But again, once the shift in consciousness happens and you see the family, the loving and serving of your family as your spiritual practice and path itself, then we have a moot point here. All right. Now, is it easier to be alone and have as few ties as possible in order to focus on God? It's relative. It's easier for some, and it's probably easier for most. But the people who don't truly have the passion, the focus, the dedication, the inspiration to focus on God, whether or not they're married, they will still find alternatives. They will still pursue desires. They will still find distractions, diversions, avoidances. So it comes back to consciousness. If you are consumed with your love for God and your deepening relationship with God, there is nothing standing in your way, married or single, children and no children. And if you're not that serious, if God's more a hobby to you than a vocation, then no, it won't be easier being single. It is true that most masters say, for those who literally want to walk away from the world, renounce the world, and just be wholeheartedly involved with their spiritual practice in terms of meditation and all the other disciplines that you do find with living masters or in ashrams, then yes, I will say in that specific scenario, this is a very specific scenario that applies to very few, small percentage of the people, then yes, it is much, much easier, single and unattached. Way, way easier. But please, I spoke that last so people wouldn't just take what I said as a blanket statement saying, Pranananda says it's easier single. That's not what I'm saying at all. In that one specific instance, yes, it is. But that applies to the smallest percentage of people.